You just said trampoline parks for kids, but how many times have we had adults come in?
Oh, for real.
That are just as messed up or more messed up.
I tried to go down it head first. It was Peyton's birthday party. You remember that? And I wrecked my neck. I fell wrong.
It could just be the whiplash or just that quick trajectory change, snapping of the neck. And let's be real, if the child had a propensity of concussions before, that is, can exacerbate it and can also get a concussion from that. And all you're thinking is, my kid was just going to the trampoline park.
You rode the bicycle. He's like, but my legs hurt. And she's like, because you finally got exercise, little guy. When a child starts talking to you about their low back hurting you and their low back hurting them when they were at the trampoline park, chances are they probably scorpioned. These are massive, giant petri dishes of filth and viruses, okay? What was it? One of our, Brecken got ringworm, right? So... Hey everybody, welcome back to the Prime Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Skip Wyss, and as always, I have the beautiful, wonderfully radiant Dr. Julie Wyss with me today. Hi baby, how are you?
I'm great.
You are looking spectacular today.
Thanks.
You are in
Prince.
Nature's camouflage.
And you're in the real camouflage?
No, this is not real camouflage. This is camouflage though. This is a Peter Millar. It's a nice it's a very nice So one of our patients was in the other day, Cheryl, side note, and she's like, you and Dr. Julie are just little fashionistas. And I
appreciate that.
Yeah, I was a little insulted.
Oh.
Yeah, I was,
but you like your style.
Yeah, but fashionista is like, I don't know. It's too feminine.
So what would be the masculine version of fashionista? Dapper? Ooh,
yeah. Dapper. Dauber.
Oh, no. Just dapper. Let's go dapper. Fashionista and you're dapper.
So we got a special episode coming at you for today. This one's kind of fun. This is a question that was posed to us the other day by Bethany Hall. And Bethany, thank you so much for listening. We know you listen all the time. And we just really, truly appreciate you listening to us, Bethany. You're a wonderful, amazing person, incredible entrepreneur with
Tastefully Simple.
Tastefully Simple, yep. And she's just absolutely fantastic. Somebody just spammed me. And she said that we should have a podcast topic on indoor winter activities that mess kids up.
Oh. And
her in particular was trampoline parks.
Oh, heck yes.
And I thought this was a great time to talk about this because it gets so cold outside, and if you're not a outdoorsy type family, a lot of your activities go to indoors. And you're looking for a lot of indoor exercise type things
to let the steam
for
off.
Your kids to get the energy out, right?
But like you just said trampoline parks for kids, but how many times have we had adults come in?
Oh, for real.
That are just as messed up or more messed up after being at the trampoline park, not even with kids.
Adults come in wrecked. Like they come in wrecked. So let's just talk about that right now. Listen, you're not 10 anymore. You are 25,
Jump
maybe
with
30,
your knees. Bend your
35,
knees.
40, 45. I've got some dads that are in their 50s trying to still do backflips on these things. And this is when you can really, really get hurt. The reason why is because most of us are not athletically built anymore. We're not working out at the gym 5 to 7 days a week, where we're doing plyometrics and jump exercises.
Yeah, but I would say, we never like to discourage anyone. But
no, I'm not telling them
take
not
some
to.
things into consideration, right?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever been able to do a backflip? Or are you now at age 50 trying to do a backflip? So maybe start small, maybe try to do a forward flip, but understand that all of a sudden, like when you feel it that one time, that's not ooh, I'll give it a few weeks and then maybe I'll check it out. Like that's call right away.
Yeah.
Let's get you taken care of.
I agree with you. I think if you know you're going to the
pre-plan
public service,
PSA
pre-plan. So if you know you're going to be going to the trampoline park in the next few weeks for like your kid's birthday, dads out there, I don't see a lot of moms doing this. It's dads.
Well, let's be real.
A lot of moms are like,
think about it.
Let's be honest. A lot of moms take your kids to the trampoline park. If they serve coffee there or hot chocolate, you're sitting down with your coffee. You're probably going to pull your phone out or you're going to pull out a book and you're going to read and you're going to disconnect a little bit from your kids. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, but it's also if you're a mom, many times you can't be in that trampoline park. And I can help with that too.
Yeah, I guess you're right with that. Yeah. Unless like dads are usually active participants. And then what happens as dads is for some reason, this thing clicks in our head and we're like, hey, we're obviously 15 still. So we can dunk. We can jump, try to dunk on the hoops. We're usually the first one to miss the hoop and fall on our back. And then we're going to go roll off the back flips. We're going to do the front flips. We're going to jump off the sides of the trampolines.
We're going to do the battle.
Yep. We're going to try to play dodgeball with our kids. And then eventually what happens is we come limping out. We've got
literally
twisted our knee, messed up our ankle, possibly fallen on our head, whiplash. 10, 12 times, whiplash. And then we're wondering, what in the hell just happened over the last 12 minutes? That's
Yep.
And then our kids are all playing around. So dads out there, be careful. Bethany, thanks for such a fun topic because let's roll into this a little bit. Number one injury in kids at trampoline parks is head injuries. And we've talked about this. We talked about this literally a couple weeks ago with outside activities, with skiing, snowboarding, sledding, is head injuries.
Yeah, and it could be like hitting somebody else, but it could just be how we're landing if we're jumping into that ball pit.
Yeah.
And that could just be the whiplash or just that quick trajectory change, snapping of the neck. And let's be real, if the child had a propensity of concussions before, that is, can exacerbate it and can also get a concussion from that. And all you're thinking is, my kid was just going to the trampoline park. How does this happen? Well, it's it's one of those things that continues to add up. So if you're jumping into something or you jump off of the board or you're battling on whatever that, balance beam is, maybe you hit the back of your head. Those are all ways that it's going to be like, Mom, my head hurts or I have a headache now. Yep,
and it's not a walk it off type situation with your kids. Get them in, get them checked by a chiropractor. Heck, hands down, smartest thing you'll ever do as a parent is get them in, get their spines checked, get their neural assessments done, and make sure that they're communicating still. Because usually what happens is between the ages of 2 and 3, we have a severe fall, which usually sets us up for compensation the rest of our life due to spinal malalignment, subluxation causing nervous interference. Now, same thing happens at trampoline parks. Same thing happens in our late childhood as well.
Yep.
So these things double up and they'll start compounding effects from when we were little babies.
I think it should really just be, if you're going to the trampoline park, then you just need to make sure that you have an appointment scheduled with your pediatric chiropractor right after. It should be like a 2-for-1. If you're going to do this, then you need to do that.
That
they schedule. Yep,
We've had them call and they say, hey, Mike's got a birthday party on Saturday. Can we have an appointment on Monday because we're going to be at a trampoline park? And that's because they've been in here before with some sort of catastrophic injury in either themselves or their kids, and they need it looked at right away. So head injuries, let's not just walk this off, let the kid go home and sleep. Like, make sure you get in and get them checked out right away by your chiropractor that understands kids, that understands pediatrics, because that does happen a lot. The other is hurting their legs. Turning an ankle, turning their knee, rolling their ankles. These things too. The walk it off approach, I fully understand. But it's going to disrupt their gait. It's going to disrupt what I mean by gait is it's going to disrupt their walking sequence and how they walk.
Yeah, and again, I think it's kind of just, if you're going to the trampoline park, just to get checked afterwards, because while there may not always be pain associated, and that's why we don't focus on the pain and the symptoms, that we focus on how the body's functioning. But just because, I mean, we met this tough little cookie the other day, and she was hanging on monkey bars with a broken arm, right? So our kids all have different pain tolerances. And so even if you saw something wonky that happened and you're like, oh my gosh, are they okay? And then they get up and there's no tears and you're like, oh, it's no big deal. It's really imperative because we talk about the investment in your health.
Well, I'm glad you brought her up because that's a very interesting little lady. She's the sweetest thing. And I take care of her older sister who had really bad migraines and headaches. And her body has healed and really gotten it under control, which is awesome. But she, again, was the tough one. She's the middle child. But she fell down steps. That's why she came in. And she fell down steps and hurt her back. And then her shoulder was bad the next day. Her ribs started to hurt. So she fell down steps. Okay, she fell down 3 steps and hit her back. Well, chronic falls at that trampoline park are just like falling down those steps. Just because there's a mat underneath you or the actual trampoline itself catching you and flinging you back in the air. And what she knew, what her mom knew was the next day when she woke up, she was in a tremendous amount of pain still. And that's something as a parent you really need to honestly pay attention to. If they wake up and they're still in a lot of pain or they're still hurting or they get out of bed and they're limping. Brecken had a really hard fall ice skating last weekend. That night, he was crying because it hurt him so bad to get on and off the couch. And guess what? He has the best chiropractors possible assessing and taking care of him. And I did take care of him, but these things take time to heal as well. And I would say
for perspective, like, right, he gets that great balance. He gets to be checked all the time. And he was checked 3 times in that one evening.
He was checked and adjusted 3 times. Like, he was not staying in balance. And I'm not saying every check leads to an adjustment. But he was adjusted 3 times that evening because his low back was not balancing itself out, which means it was trying to protect an injury. And we need to really understand that. So what did we do with him? We checked him. We adjusted him. He iced. He took magnesium. This is all stuff that our 13-year-old takes. And he doesn't like taking medication. He won't take Tylenol. He doesn't take ibuprofen. Like, our kids don't go to that. He will ask right away for arnica. Like, he'll ask for his arnica tablets that he had when he was teething. So these are all things that we can help with. So let's talk a little bit about natural pain remedies. And since we did bring that up a little bit, for kiddos, when they are dealing with some pains or let's say aches and pains, fall at the trampoline park, hurt their back, whatever it may be, it's winter season. Go back to our winter podcast 3 podcasts ago and learn about winter injuries. But what do you think is the #1 pain reliever for kids? Best pain reliever option?
We like to use arnica.
We like to use arnica. Yes, we do. Arnica is absolutely awesome. It's a homeopathic. You can get arnica at a lot of different health food stores.
Tablets, there's gels.
Yep. We like the little pearls. And the reason why we like the little pearls is that it dissolves under their tongue. It's slightly sweetened. But you can use arnica as far down as infants teething for helping with that pain relief in their mouth. The next thing I would recommend is when it's muscle soreness, magnesium. Now, magnesium does not act like ibuprofen or a nonsteroidal or Tylenol. It takes a few hours for magnesium to start to work.
But if we're talking tight, achy, if we had whiplash, if we had that injury where everything is tight, because we need that because that's the protective mechanism of the body, that magnesium will just allow us to better be able to relax, which then can lessen that pain. Yeah,
and then there is the adage to electrolytes. So our muscles are going to be sore after we work out, fun, run around. Kids will commonly complain of leg pain to their parents, not as like a growing pains, nighttime pain thing, but they'll be achy sore. And it's because they're playing, and they're playing hard. Eden, the other day, another little boy that we see, Eden came in and he's like, "Mama, my leg hurts." And she's like, "That's because you finally got exercise and you were like, when I was lifting weights, you rode the bicycle." He's like, "But my legs hurt." And she's like, "Because you finally got exercise, little guy." And the thing is, though, is we want to look at electrolytes to kind of help with that delayed onset muscle soreness. A good one, which is kind of a wives' tale, but it works, is drinking pickle juice. Pickle juice is chock full of electrolytes. There's lots of salt in it. It's briny. There's vinegar. I'm not telling you to drink an entire can.
We also have an electrolyte drink. You'd have to just get it from the office. But we have a company that we use for that works really, really well in replace of your Gatorades and your Propels, which are just chock full of sugars and colors and other things that our kiddos really don't need.
Right. Be very, very cautious with giving your kids over-the-counter medication to fight pain. Be very cautious with it. Use it incredibly sparingly, and that's all I'm going to say about it. And talk to your MD if you really feel like you want to give your kids non-steroidals, Tylenol, and ibuprofen. Let them help you make that decision. Let's talk some back injuries with these littles. Okay, so when they injure their back, we want to hold space for that too. We really want to understand that, because when a child starts talking to you about their low back hurting you, and their low back hurting them when they were at the trampoline park, chances are they probably scorpioned. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is they hit their face and then their legs came back over their backside and hit the back of their head.
We'll have to put a little picture of what that looks like.
Yeah. Hey, Georgia, put this for the picture, okay? But that kid scorpioning at the trampoline park where their legs come up and hit the back of their head, that's not normal spinal extension.
We've seen adults do this as well,
yes.
And that is not the way that you should be bending.
No, and so that's really incredibly common when they fall on their face, when they whip themselves back and forth, and that will lead to them injuring their low back. So make sure that they get checked out by the chiro as well. We want to put ice on their low back, help them through the pain of that, and then see a chiro, make sure they're getting checked.
I would say, like, think this through. Like, you were a child once, and if you're there with a bunch of friends, you're not going to come out of that ball pit. You're not going to stop doing what you're doing. You're going to brush it off, suck it up, and say, I'm just fine. And then the child's just going to go about the day. And depending on if it's a busy day, nothing may even show up until that next day or 2 days later, because that is the hallmark of you feel fine in that moment. Mm-hmm. Whiplash is going to catch up on you on day 2. And so it's understanding those warning signs of, okay, but you seem like you were fine. They're not making it up. It's just to hear them out, to really listen, close the mouth, listen, which is really difficult sometimes. But ask them some questions of, like, what does it feel like? Where is it going? Is it moving places? Does it hurt when you breathe? Does it hurt when you go to the bathroom? Those are all really good prodding questions that can start to answer some of the things that may be going on with them.
Yes, I agree 100%. And it's that second and third day. So don't forget about that, moms and dads, and if you're males, is that second and third day when you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm so sore. Remember, you
didn't do anything yesterday.
Did 2 days ago, you wrecked your stuff at the trampoline park. Now, another good segue for this. Let's talk about inflatables and the inflatable parks, because they're still around. There's jump houses in these indoor jump facilities. They've been around for a while. Some have went out of business. It was a big thing 5 years ago, but they're still around. These are massive, giant petri dishes of filth and viruses, okay? What was it? One of our, Brecken got ringworm, right? So we want to be real conscious of our kids being in these facilities as well. Make sure that they're clothed. And what I mean by that is
socks, long pants,
long sleeve t-shirts. Yep. They don't need gloves on, but like these, they want to have that, because these little fungals and little bacteria that are on these mats can pass on to your kids. And the last thing you need is for them to get highly contagious. Ringworm is highly contagious. So is impetigo, which is cracking of your kid's lips and getting a bacterial infection. And these things are very contagious. We're not telling you not to go, but make sure your kids are really covered up, even though it's hot.
Sometimes, like we're talking the jumping, but it's those big slides, right? That they're going down. Yeah. And that's when you see the scorpion, and all of a sudden you thought it was funny. They're going to slide on their butt, and then they're somersaulting, all the way down. And it's just like, it's the blow up and then it's the floor. And that's usually like nobody's catching them. And it's they were on an inflatable. There's nowhere they're hurt. Dude, I gave myself whiplash on an inflatable slide. I'm not too proud to admit it. I tried to go down it head first. It was Peyton's birthday party. You remember that? And I wrecked my neck. I fell wrong, twisted this way, went over the top. Family, friends.
Yep. Everybody was laughing. I got up laughing. And then within an hour, I was hurting. I didn't feel good. And your kids go through this nonstop. And then they go through those runway ones too. So there's inflatables where like kids run in them and they're like a track. And they're like diving around different obstacle. There's an inflatable obstacle course. And I've seen more kids get beat up on those because there's usually a small climbing wall and then they have to get onto the other side. And they never fall right. They fall and like hit their heads. They get packed around. And we commonly as parents, we just push it off because it was an inflatable. And those inflatables are actually, they're firm. They're designed to push back. Granted, they didn't hit the floor, but they still may have caused some issues going on.
So I feel like we just tore apart all of the indoor activities that we can do in the wintertime.
You can still
But
do
it's
them.
not to say that you can't do them. You can do them.
Yeah.
Just make sure that we're on speed dial or your chiropractor, you know, that you have those appointments set up, because we don't want to take those things away. But, you know, you can also set up obstacle courses within your home. You can set up, you know, a family movement routine, and that could just be, you know, simple exercises or getting outside to hike. There's things that you can still do, but just make sure if you're choosing to do the trampoline park, the inflatables, that you are getting checked and assessed after those events.
Yeah, just have a little caution. That's
Yes.
all. We're not telling you not to do them.
Absolutely not.
Go have fun. Jump around. Just don't, if you wreck yourself and fall, make sure you're taking care of yourself. And lastly, wear proper footwear when you're there. So I highly recommend wearing the grippy socks. Grippy socks keep you from falling and tripping and twisting your ankles. They give you that little extra grab, because you shouldn't be running around on these things barefoot either, because nobody wants your naked dogs out there spreading your foot funk. Get your socks on, jump around.
I can smell it.
This has been a fun episode. It's been more of a tongue-in-cheek, but it's a serious one. Like, we need to hold space for these childhood injuries and really know when to go. And
there's no judgment. Like, our kids come in broken. There's no judgment when you, dad, you know, mom, when you come in broken. We'll still take care of you just like we do everyone else. I've
broke it up pretty good. These things happen. For some reason, you are like, you're flawless. Like, you don't break very often. You know, Dr. Julie's pretty much flawless, so we'll just leave it at that, right? You know, Dr. Julie and I are on a mission to get this podcast to as many people as we possibly can. So if you know anybody that would love to hear this, share it with them, like it. In fact, we would really enjoy it if you would comment below. Let us know if you really do love trampoline parks. What are some of your favorite things? What do you like to do in the winter? How do you get outside? What do you do indoors? Comment below what you do indoors, and you will get entered in a contest at the end of the month, a drawing with your name, and we'll be giving away a gift card to Target. Dr. Julie, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
I was just thinking this podcast should go viral, because down south, y'all are getting snow.
They got a lot of snow.
So I don't know if you're going to be trapped inside or not, but you can also be a part of this with us.
All right, everybody, take care. Go out there, get it done. Have a wonderful week. Bye, everyone.